Welcome to the Tennis Warehouse racket review of the Head Gravity Tour 2025. For this update, Head has given the Gravity Tour a significant makeover. Gone is the previous version's 100 square inch head size and 1820 string pattern. This new Gravity Tour features a more surgical 98 square inch head size and combines it with a more spin-friendly 16 by 19 string pattern. The result is a controlled hoop, but a higher launch angle for easier depth. A boost in swing weight offers some useful plow-through power and stability. The teardrop head shape of previous Gravities remains, offering more power and spin in the upper portion of the string bed. A low 59 RA racket stiffness provides a plush and comfortable feel on every shot that's also loaded with control. The 4-point headlight balance of this racket combines with an 11.4 ounce strung weight and a 328 swing weight. I was fortunate enough to test a pre-production version of this racket at the BNP Paribas Open when we were with Dennis Fabian from Head, and I fell in love with the racket from the very first hit and was pleased to find that when the production version came along, such as I've got in my hands right now, the playability has remained the same. Super easy to get the racket through contact. I feel very fast, especially on my one-handed backhand. I think it's a great racket for the topspin one-handed backhand. Whips through. I love the cap grommets at the tip of the racket. Get a little bit of a whistle from them. Reminds me of the old Prestiges that I grew up playing with. And then a really nice, easy access to depth. So good launch over the net. Getting plenty of spin on the ball to get it dipping inside the lines to my targets. And just that ball jumping off the court, pushing my opponent back, allowing me to come in and finish the point at net. When I did get to the net, the controlled response of the racket, the super plush, comfortable feel really shone through. I felt very connected to my volleys, hitting some great touch volleys with this one, and the open string pattern allowed me to cut under the ball and get a lot of spin. Likewise on serve, good pace, good spin. Found it a very easy racket to inject pace with on my serve. My slice serve out wide on the do side was working really well. So love this racket. It's a possible switch for me. I like it that much.
I'm a huge fan of the Gravity line. I used to play a lot with the Gravity Pro a couple of years back, and I've always found that the frame's lineage offers a lot of control inherently, but I felt myself lacking some maneuverability at times. So I was really excited to see this release from Head, and thankfully it lives up to the specs. You're getting something that's extremely whippy and a little bit lighter, so again, lots of maneuverability. But yeah, I honestly fell in love with this racket from the very first hit. It was an extremely rewarding experience. The acoustics are really nice, gives you a really crisp and sort of loud thud. And I just found that to be encouraging on a lot of my ground strokes. I really enjoyed the spin capability and the elongated spin window due to the teardrop shape. I did have a slight knock on my backhand, only on my two-hander though. I noticed that the launch angle was a little bit lower and that was throwing me off, but the one-hander still felt pretty easy to manage, and I really liked how this handled on the forehand side of things. Up at net, I felt that my baseline experience translated very well in terms of the ability to pocket and shape balls, and I really enjoyed, dropping the ball low into the service box or punching deep into the corners if I needed to. Again, just a versatile frame that felt like it obeyed my every command. And then on serve, this thing was a dream, really nice shape and placement. Again, that's the main story here, I would say. And when returning, I also enjoyed how easily I was able to redirect and absorb pace if needed. I'm always kind of looking at a way to take away the +1 opportunities if I'm returning, and I felt like I could hammer to either corner effectively with this racket. I do need a little bit more time with this frame, got to figure out that two-hander, but I do think that this could be a possible switch for me.
The first time I hit the ball with this Gravity Tour 98, I knew Head was onto something pretty sweet here. I like to think of this racket as a Gravity 98 because when I say the Gravity Tour, I think of the previous versions, which were 100 square inches, had tight string patterns. This 98 is a really nice addition to the line. I really like that they made the head size a little bit smaller. It gave us a smaller option. It gives me a little bit more precision. And the feel of this racket, it has that nice low flex rating, nice plush feel. So it kind of gives you that classic feel on contact, nice and plush and really good. But it infuses kind of the modern aspects of the racket with some pop and some spin. So for me, it's a nice blend of like sort of that classic prestige feel, or another racket I play with is just the Ultra Pro, and gives you that modern pop and spin that you'd find from like an Extreme Pro or a V-Core 98. So I think it's a really nice, unique blend here. Plenty of spin from the baseline. I really like the spin serves. That's sort of my strength on serve, is using the slice and the kick. So it just worked really well on my serve. And then when you get up at net, you got that buttery feel, but you still get a good pop on the ball, whether you're closing out the point from the net or from the baseline. I felt like I could still hit through the court. Really with this one, all I'm doing is probably adding a leather grip, maybe a little bit more swing weight, and this is just a great feeling frame.
As soon as I got on court with this frame, I really fell in love with it. On my forehand, I found that I could really open up the court. It was very stable, and it's still a gravity, so it's still control oriented. So I'm able to hit big and still keep the ball in. And then it's got a little bit of an open string pattern on the top, so I'm able to get more depth. I can get a higher net clearance and then still keep the ball in. So I'm getting a lot of spin, and I'm opening up the court more. On the other hand, my backhand, I had a few issues with. I was not able to get that ball in and get that racket head speed going to get that ball to dip in, so I wasn't able to control it as much. That's when the open string pattern was actually hurting my game, but nothing too bad. I was able to adjust it and get the game going. On serves, again, I do like hitting flat serves a lot with a lot of the rackets I played with, but the kick serves on this were really nice. Controlled racket with an open string pattern, you can really swing into it, get the ball going, and then kick up really nice. Volleys, really loved it. Good touch. One thing I did have a problem with is adding any like underspin to it. For like I said, I was able to get a really good spin on my forehands, but then for some reason I was not able to get that same amount of like undercut on my volleys, like when I want to hit that touch backspin volleys. I would have liked it if it was a little bit more stiffer to get a little bit more power out of it, because for something that's got such a nice spin potential, I feel like it's a bit too low powered. But that's just me. I would really recommend this to anybody who's looking to swing big into the ball, get a lot of racket head speed, and then still open up the court and play aggressive with it.
First of all, I was super excited to play this racket. For me, this is really a beauty and a success from head. About the technology, two main points are super important compared to the last version. The first one is the fact that they reduced the head size to 98 inch. And the second one is the fact that right now the swing pattern is 16 by 19. These two main points are super important for my play style because I like to put spin. So right now, because of the swing pattern, I can put more spin. And because of the new head size, I have more control. So right now we have a good balance between comfort, spin, and power. This is really what I like for a racket. Also about the weight, this is exactly my spec, so I really like this racket. If I talk about the baseline, it was a super racket to counter-attack, but also to be aggressive because of this combination of spin and power. I was a little bit less comfortable in the volley because maybe I would like more stability, but at the end it was a super racket in overall. Also for serve, it was super appreciable to hit harder the ball, and also on the second serve it was super nice. I can put spin also because of the swing pattern. So in overall I really like the racket, and if I have to advise this racket, I will advise to people that like to be aggressive first and also to counter attack sometimes.
At the level of playability, I really enjoy playing with this frame. This frame is a 98, 16, 19. This tool version of the Gravity has all the aspects that I really like from a racket. This control-oriented frame, but still 16, 19, so a bit of room for give some spin. And especially from the baseline, I was really feel comfy when it was the time to push a ball through the other side of the court. If the exchange was getting a bit too difficult and complicated for me, maybe at that point it was getting tricky to feel the racket really stable for me, but otherwise I felt super good with this frame, so it's really good for me.
For the review today, we had two rackets strung up, with one with links tour and the other one with links spin squared, both at around 52 pounds. For more information on this version of the Gravity Tour or anything tennis related, be sure to go to Tennis Warehouse, Tennis Warehouse Europe, or Tennis Only.